What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to continue working on the ZX6R. A lot of work needs to be done to get it to where it needs to be. So without further ado, let's get to it. Alright guys, as you can see, the frame is prepped. I've completely cleaned it all up. Right now what I'm going to do is go ahead and tape it all off. All the areas I don't want any paint or primer to be on. Completely tape everything up. Get ready to throw some primer down and some paint. You good boy. Yeah. Alright guys, as you can see, the bike is fully prepped, sanded, taped up. It's ready to receive paint right now. The primer is fully cured. I've sanded it one more time. I saved you guys the stress of watching that all over again. Sanding is really boring. I don't like it myself. But without much more talk, it's time to throw some paint. So I'm going to go ahead and mix the paint up real quick, toss it in the gun, and we're going to throw it on the chassis of this motorcycle. Brand new day in the garage. As you can see, last night I prepped the frame to receive paint just like I said I would. Today it's a little bit colder, just over 10 degrees Celsius. So I'm gonna go ahead and warm up the frame all around, and we can start throwing some paint on it. Paint in the gun, everything is set up. I'm gonna go ahead and open the door. We're gonna start throwing some paint on this area of the frame that's been warmed up, and then we're gonna move on to other parts of the frame, get it all covered in a nice satin black, and then we're gonna be ready to throw the engine back in. The first coat of paint is down on the main frame. As you can see, I'm hitting the other side of the main frame up right now, so we can throw the paint. We're going to move to the swing arm, same thing, come back up here. I want to get at least 2 coats on all sides of the frame of the chassis, so we have good color match and good flow all around. Let's get back to work. Alright guys, so right now we've gotten 2 coats, or at least 1.5 coat plus or minus all over the bike. I'm gonna go ahead and just hit it one more time with a wet on wet full coat. Try to get a nice finish all around, and then she's gonna be done. Alright, and now before the paint fully cures, I'm gonna go ahead and remove all the tape, the masking, all that good stuff. You always want to remove that before the paint fully cures, or you're gonna have a difficult time and possibly horrible tape lines when you take that off. So I'm gonna do that right now, and then we should be good. And just like that, it doesn't look a whole lot better, but it's the simplest things that make a build a build. So I'm happy with the way it turns out. It's a tad bit cleaner. Everyone's happy. But while we have it out here, it's the perfect time to install some new NGK Spark Plugs on the bike. With the engine in the chassis, it's going to be more difficult, so it only makes sense to throw it in while it's out here right now. And now let's toss it in. Now I'm going to add some dielectric grease to the coil pack, only a little bit, good enough. Alright, we're done with that tedious task. All the old spark plugs are out, the new ones are in here. Let's get this thing mated together once and for all. Right now, obviously the engine is sitting right in the frame, but it's not mounted whatsoever. So I'm gonna go ahead and set you guys on a time lapse, because obviously I need to mess around with this, line things up, throw the fasteners in, and then I'm gonna cut you guys back on and we're gonna talk about exactly what I had to do. And just like that, we have this opened up. I do not want to bore you guys because you've seen me open this up before. All the parts are over here. We have the new one up in here. I'm going to unbox this, get it ready to be installed, and toss it on the bike. Unboxing the new one. That looks good. Let's toss it on. There are two gaskets. There's one already in place. I'm going to install the other one. Just like so. Now we're going to line up the new timing cover. Just like that, we have the repaired painted frame and subframe all mounted together to the engine once again. As you can see, it's looking good. I have also gone ahead and torqued all the bolts to specifications, so that is perfect. Now it's time to start installing parts on the ZX6R. The first part that's going to be going on the ZX6R is one of the parts we took off, which is the exhaust headers. I currently have it sitting out here, and obviously, as you can tell, it has seen better days. So my goal right now is to restore this to almost better than OEM. In order to get this done, I just have a bucket of water with some dish soap over here, some steel wool. I picked up this mother's aluminum polish. Never tried it before, but we'll see how it works out. So without much more talking, I'm going to set you guys on a time lapse and try to get this knocked out. Wish me luck. So as you can see, after I went to work on these headers, it's looking much better than it was. It's not all corroded and rusted and looking poorly like it was before. So I'm very happy with this. I know it's not going to look brand new, but it's okay to clean it up a little bit. I'm sure I gain 10 horsepower just by doing that. So now we're going to go ahead and slap it on the motorcycle and start throwing some new parts on this bike. Now I have the exhaust headers cleaned up. It's looking much better than it did before. I also have the gasket cleaned up. I'm going to reuse this. You never really need to replace this except they fail for some reason. So I cleaned up all the corrosion on them, and I'm going to toss it back in and reinstall these exhaust headers on the 6R. And then we can get to installing some new parts like I mentioned before. Now we're going to fit it in. And now with the headers installed, I'm going to go ahead and torque it to specification. Now with the exhaust headers installed, now it's a good time to go ahead and reroute the kill switch harness and the ignition harness back through there and up in here where it originally came out from. As you can see, we have a whole bunch of parts that's going to go on the ZX6R over there, from sprockets to air filter to brake system to hoses to a whole bunch of stuff. But right now, before we can install all this ignition harness back in here, we have to replace the kill switch that was damaged. If you recall from the previous video, I had to pretty much bypass this to start the bike. So right now, in order to replace this, I'm going to have to repin this connector because the one I received is apparently not the right one. I'm not sure that happened. So I'm going to have to repin all of this, make it work with that connector, and then we can install all of this. And now it's time to start dealing with all of this stuff. So first in here, I'm gonna connect either solenoid or the relay, whatever you wanna call it. I'm gonna connect that and start working my way forward. Right now we're ready to install the brand new radiator on the 6R. Over here, as you can see, I've spliced in the new connector to the old connector harness. I'm not certain if that's gonna work because the new connector had way more wires than the old one. So right now we can't really test it out because there's nothing connected, as you can see, but I'm hoping it works out. Fingers crossed that's gonna work. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and install the rad, start connecting the coolant hoses. As you can see over here, we picked up some brand new ones because the original one had a damage to it. As you can see, it's ripped here in multiple places. So we picked up some red one. Why not? So without much more talking, let's continue working on this beautiful bike. Now we're gonna fit the brand new radiator in. Just like that, we have the brand new radiator fitted on the motorcycle. It's looking good. The next part we're obviously going to throw on this bike is going to be the brand new coolant hoses that we picked up to replace the stock ones. Let's throw that on and then we would be completely done with the cooling assembly for now. All right, now with the hoses loosely fitted, the clamps are not secured yet. My goal is to try to remove this sleeve that's on the OEM hose and put it on that one. I'm not sure exactly how possible this is. Well, the main reason why they have this on is so this doesn't rub on the frame and rub through and have a hole in it. So I'm going to try to see if I can move that over to this one. I'm not certain if it's going to work, but if I can, that would be great. If I can't, then so be it. Then we're going to completely secure all the clamps and move on to the other side and do the same thing. Okay, that took a minute, but we have it out. Now I'm thinking about it, I don't think this is gonna fit on this because this hose is slightly thicker than this one. But we're gonna see if it works since we have it off already. Try to toss it on in here. If it works, good. And just like that, we have the hose fitted on the bike. Looks really good. I was able to move this over from the OEM one to this one. Added peace of mind, and now I know it's not going to rub against the frame. And if it does, it's not going to rub through and create a hole. Perfect. So now we're going to go on to the other side and installed the hose because that's where the damage was, and that's why we're replacing all of this. And now we're gonna install the hose assembly on the motorcycle. Now down in here is where the coolant pipe connects. Now we can go ahead and secure all the clamps. And now we have all the coolant hoses fitted on the motorcycle. The next thing we're going to be throwing on is the coolant reservoir. It mounts up to the radiator. Let's do it. Have some portions, spaces in here. And that's a wrap for today's video. Happy Thanksgiving to my fellow Canadians. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate the support, and I'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Peace out.